Hello and a warm welcome to another episode of the Third Half Podcast, a podcast where we talk all things Sport.Fun, covering both football and American football. I'm Palmer and I'm joined as always with my co-host Laird. Laird, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, sir. I'm excited about this conversation today. I feel like NFL has dominated the conversations, even though it's at the deadest period, and so we're fighting back for football.
Yep. And you've called it the right thing. Absolutely happy days. Yeah, I suppose we've just spent the last hour or so trying to figure how not to break my computer with loading so many files and things. So yeah, it's an exciting one today. I just wanted to take a quick moment and shout out MDJ for the shirts are officially out. I feel like I need to do a quick spin for showing the number 10 on the back. Breathing as well. So yeah, absolutely lovely shirt from the team came the other day. So I was kind of thinking, I might need to cut a bit of some summer weight just to slim into it. But no,
whatever the motivations are, they're good.
Well, there you go. It's a nice shirt and it's perfect for on stream. It's just a little bit too low at the minute, but no. So I've got that rocking. Might as well dive straight into it. So if I share my screen, this should hopefully not break everything.
No problem.
He says, ooh, moment of truth.
There we go.
So as everybody who's watching can see on the screen and everybody who's listening will get explained to, we've got two wheels. Wheel on the left is a list of all players within FDF right now. So the full 140 or I think 139 player list. And on the right-hand side, we've got a wheel of around, I think, 60 kind of different players who are not within FDF. And we're going to kind of do a little bit of a few different questions, a bit of a would you rather, a bit of a, who would be the better option, who would be the better pick, and just kind of a bit of a conversation around where the game's going. We've had it alluded to us about the scouting platform. We've kind of been eardropped with picks. We're going to get additional players in, especially around the World Cup and international breaks. So it's a bit of a, good start, I suppose, to compare. So I'll spin the wheel on the left first off, and it lands on.
It's a nice strong spin.
It's a solid spin. Matheus Cunha. So Matheus Cunha, striker for Manchester United, already within FDF, and we'll spin the wheel on the right, and it's against.
I'm going to take the other guy.
Yeah, I was kind of on that same list.
Whoever it is. Oh no, it's a goalie. Oh no,
Robin Risser. So we spoke a moment ago though, Laird, where we were kind of saying, what do we do if we get a striker against a goalkeeper? So Robin Risser, 21 years old, goalkeeper for Lens in Liga. He's having a good season. He's young and up and coming. On the other side, you've got Matheus Cunha, just had a big move over to Man United, sharing that kind of striker position with Sesko and Buemo, a few other lads kind of in and around the picture. You said whoever the other guy is, are you still backing Risser over Cunha?
So we landed on a goalkeeper from the league that gets basically 0 points for doing anything in their league. And so I think that's worth pointing out that the basically the match coefficient that they have make Ligue 1 goalkeepers almost unplayable in domestic league matches. Obviously, once they get to the Champions League, it's a little better, although we're in deep into the Champions League right now, and we don't even have Matvei Safonov because he replaced Lucas Chevalier from PSG. But yeah, it's there literally might be two people on the list of those who are not on the platform that I would probably have to pass on. And Risser's one of them. Early doors, I think we kind of underestimated how powerful the win bonuses are for goalkeepers, and that Chevalier almost never was near the top. Part of that is that PSG would win 5-1, and that just, any clean sheet gets killed. But even when they get a clean sheet, he'd finish at 68 points, and you're just it's not good enough. And so I guess Cunha wins this one.
I think it's an interesting one, and you raise a good point about the kind of win bonus. And I wish I had Rissa's stats up for kind of shots saved and clean sheets, because my mind goes, well, PSG are such a weird team. They often dominate for about 85 minutes, rarely have many kind of chances that they have to defend and shots they have to save. However, they then do still go and concede quite a lot.
Right.
Rissa for Lens, again, completely uneducated without seeing his full stat sheet for this season or kind of historical. Lens are a team that are not going to dominate 90 minutes every single game of the season. So he's probably up there for having a lot of shots to be saved, maybe a few big chances, if he can get a penalty save. And then you kind of compare that against Mateus Cunha. Cunha's roughly been favoured to get the 90 minutes over Mbeumo, and Mbeumo's normally the guy that gets subbed off about 60, 70 minutes into the game to bring on Sesko and kind of change things up. And Cunha's been lucky enough to get the full 90 quite often lately. But Cunha has been a bit of a struggle when we're, for getting top fives. The good thing is he's somebody that dribbles a lot with the ball and does, get on the score sheet. But I almost think in my mind it's a bit closer than it actually is. The one thing as well that kind of gets me is there's not many goalkeepers out there that are, we've pretty much got all the big names in terms of goalkeepers. So I wouldn't mind a few extra numbers just to try and change it up a little bit. But I think I will have to back you and go Cunha over Rissa at this occasion.
Yeah, I mean, Lens are second in Ligue 1. Like they're good, but so he actually doesn't get a lot of saves. And he'll get those like 2 save clean sheets every so often. And I think I don't know where they are. I think I saw here he has 10 clean sheets in the league, which is not that different than that's not that great.
Chevalier.
Yeah. And so let me see if I can. Yeah, I mean, like Donnarumma has 11 at Man City. Gregor Kobel.
But what's Rissa's kind of how many shots is he saving? Then is Lens a team that's conceding a lot of chances, or
no? So he has 77 saves in. So I got it. I'm scrolling. I have games. The top 5 leagues, but basically, yeah, it's like the same number as like Emi Martinez, Bern Leno, which are very different because one team faces a lot, but like he's good for the league, but again. When you're
you're saying the win bonus.
Yeah, when the win bonus is so low. So they've conceded 30, he has conceded 37 in 27 games. That's decent. Emi Martinez is 29 in 27 games. Leno's 44. So he's a guy.
Yeah.
And he's near the top of a league that basically gets disrespected points wise. And so it's really difficult to make a case that you would take him over other people.
No, yeah. When you put it that way, I'm just kind of looking down the other list of kind of goalkeepers that we've got, and I suppose there's other picks above, across the top 5 leagues that you'd go for. It's just the only thing I really want is just I think some weeks there's 4 or 5 goalkeepers playing at all because you've not got Trafford and you've not got Chevalier and Joan Garcia got injured for a little bit, and it's kind of like Alisson's out now for Liverpool. So my mind just says, whatever it is, just get another goalkeeper in there. But yeah, when you put the stats in front of me, I think you're absolutely right. Cunha's the pick.
I mean, we had this midweek for picks. There were only 2 or 3 guys because even Sells is supposed to get rotated for Forest, and
exactly.
I think somebody mentioned to me before Oblak might be out, and it's all of a sudden.
Yeah, Oblak was out the other week as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and so all of a sudden it's you go from what you think is 12, and now it's they're 3, and you're oh, maybe we should have a few more.
And that's where my mind goes. I could say that if Rissa can kind of make 3 saves in a game and get a clean sheet, there's going to be weeks where he's in that top 5, pushing on that top 3 automatically, compared to Cunha, who might go get a goal, but you're comparing him against Mbappe, who's just gone and put 5 goals past some shitter team. So I'll back you on Cunha, but I'm sticking to my stance that I'd like to see more goalkeepers, and we'll spin the wheel again and potentially see a few more goalkeepers to get it in. So spinning the wheel on the left, the existing players, and we land on. Oh, There you go. Ask and you shall receive. Thibaut
Thibaut
Courtois, Real Madrid goalkeeper, who obviously the other day we had Lunin in goal instead of Courtois, and we're switching him up against
another goalie.
Back-to-back goalkeepers. Finn Darman. I thought he was going to be Yandy on Monday. Then I was getting excited. So, literally continuing the goalkeeper conversation, I think you mentioned it before. Champions League, the extra games in the week, and I think when we're looking at goalkeeper versus goalkeeper, Finn Darman's having a great season, but I don't know if I've got any kind of justification to drop Courtois instead of, are you in agreement? Do you disagree?
I see no reason to make a switch.
Yeah, that was a quick one. So we'll spin again. Wheel on the left. And we land on. My eyes aren't that good. Bloody hell, it's the keeper central, Mike Maignan, AC Milan goalkeeper. And wheel on the right lands on. Oof, Alphonso Davies. I'll let you lead on this one.
Well, that's fun and easy. Maybe not actually that easy. I think Davies is one that probably would have been on the platform if he was fit when they launched.
Yeah.
But that's also like, yeah, when he's fit, he's good, but he's never fit. So he should play like a huge role this summer as long as, for as far as Canada go. But Maignan is like the goalkeeper for a top team in Italy and a top World Cup team as well. That's a tricky one, actually. I can't believe I'm like actually thinking about taking Maignan.
Yeah, it's. I think the only fear that I would have would be adding Alphonso Davies and instead just adding another player onto the injury list. Mike Maignan, I know for a fact, has had some very big game weeks.
Yeah.
It's why like people like him and Pavlovic go under the radar. I think AC Milan would be much better, but obviously Pulisic and Rafa Leao, they're kind of star men, have both been injured for a majority of the season. And it's kind of left them struggling at times. Alphonso Davies, when I typed his name onto the list, I was like, yeah, get him into the game. Absolutely brilliant. And I'm actually stumped that it's Mike Maignan who's potentially pipping him to it. I was hoping that we'd get like a, Alphonso Davies versus, I don't even know, Lenny Yoro, and we'd be able to get Davies in. That would be great. I'm sticking to Mike Maignan, I think. What's your final say?
Yeah, I think each keeper. I mean, there's probably, I was going to say 10, but I'm going to move it down to 5 goalkeepers that they have to have in the game, and Maignan just seems like one of them.
I'll agree with you on that. We'll respin then. Wheel on the left, the existing players, and it lands on. What? Do I need to shuffle this wheel? What?
Like the trolliest of trolls.
I jinxed us by saying let's talk about goalkeepers. Lucas Chevalier. I suppose the now PSG number 2, and we'll spin the wheel on the right and it lands on. Scamacca. This pains me. Go on. So, Scamacca, obviously, I'm a Liverpool fan, absolutely pasted us. Absolutely, So I'm still getting flashbacks from seeing his name as he just scored goal after goal after goal. I think if Chevalier was still a solid number 1 at PSG, he would be the obvious answer. But due to just not being active, getting Scamacca in would be great. I think a player like Scamacca would struggle. I don't know if he's somebody that would be able to get top 5 consistently enough to warrant having a strong price within SDF. I think he might be one of those, like a Malik Tillman. He's kind of an outside shout. He's going to have games where he goes and does big. Maybe not Malik Tillman, maybe a bit higher up the kind of cost ranking. But yeah, I wouldn't be like spamming Discord to get Skamaka in.
Yeah.
But I'd probably have him in over Chevalier at this point in time.
Yeah, he just seems like one of those guys that hits the top 5 when there's like a random Serie A midweek and it's him and Lukaku, and you're just like, all right, I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I really enjoy about Sport.Fun is not having to worry about guys like Skamaka. Like, yeah, he's there and he's a good footballer, but it's not. I felt like the whole point was this is a game for the best players in the world,
the elite, yeah.
And I don't know how many people you'd have to say name the top 100 and 200 players, and Skamaka makes the list.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I was just trying to think, who would I compare Skamaka to that's already in the game? And I think when you just said about the midweek kind of comparison, that Rasmus Højlund kind of player is almost where I'd put Skamaka, probably even lower than Højlund in terms of there's going to be games in which he goes and does well, might get a couple of goals, but consistently as an elite player, he's not up there. But if we're talking about today, if we were going into a game week today, I'd be having money on Skamaka over Chevalier purely on the fact he doesn't play.
Sure.
It will be interesting to see this kind of, we've just had Mike Magnan. It's kind of a competition between these guys for who's going to be in goal for France over the World Cup. Chevalier's lack of game time, I think from the reports I've seen so far, isn't an issue. And I think he's going to potentially keep the number 1 spot in goal for France, but that could change. And, a decent transfer for Chevalier, and he's back straight into top contention as a top 3 keeper. So I guess I'll vibe with Skamaka on this basis, but, maybe it's just a temporary loan and then we get Chevalier back down the line.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to mix it up. We're going to go for the wheel on the right first.
I think that was the problem, yeah. No goalkeepers.
Yeah. I think, yeah, the goalkeepers are clearly when I do left first time. William Pacheco and the wheel on the left. We're still not getting kind of fireworks and exciting players. Oh, this is a good one. Daniel Svensson. Back-to-back defenders. Obviously got William Pacheco, PSG, Daniel Svensson, Borussia Dortmund. As far as I'm aware, they both start for their international sides. I know Svensson's obviously had a few for Sweden recently, on the kind of the international breaks and stuff. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, Pacheco starts as well.
Yep.
This is actually a difficult one. My brain doesn't have an instant answer.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that if neither of them were on the platform and you were like, which one should we add? People pick Pacho because he's on PSG and it's a bigger, not that Dortmund's a small club, but I think they pick that way. But the fact that Svensson's already on, there's no reason to remove him for Pacho. If that makes sense. He's taken some set pieces. Dortmund can be very good scorers. The funny thing is that there are a lot of Dortmund players on the platform, and he's probably not the first one you remove. And so it's
that's actually a good point.
He's probably fine. He's probably fine.
I think, yeah, when you're looking at Dortmund's such a weird team because you've got Felix and Checker. Obviously you've got Joe Bellingham, Svensson's another one, Adeyemi. All these guys are quite good players. They're just they're not getting 90 minutes. They're not really performing that well. I think the only player you had, Guirassy at the start of the season was like on fire.
Yeah.
He's fallen off a cliff. And then you've got Schlotterbeck, who's just like consistently an absolute beast. So it's quite a weird one. But yeah, I think I've got to back you on the fact of going. I don't know, because I think if you were to spin it round and say, well, what if you got all your Svensson shares and they just went 1-for-1 into Willian Pacho, I think people would be favouring Pacho.
Yeah, I think it's just like a PSG versus Dortmund thing at that point. But I think people who play fantasy football, like deep, choose Svensson.
Svensson plays like left wing back for them, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'm such a sucker for set pieces, though. So, like, if somebody has ever taken a corner in their life, I'm like, that's the guy I want.
So my comparison right now is Grimaldo versus Tapsoba. Grimaldo plays left wing back and can get assists and goals and fancy play similar to Svensson. Obviously, Grimaldo, I'd say, is a much better player than Svensson, whereas Pacho is that Tapsoba, sit in the middle of the field. He gets the tackles, gets the headers, gets the passes. Again, without seeing the stat line, maybe that's just my mind putting together, how Pacho plays. I'm going to go for Pacho. I think you're right. I think Dortmund have got too many players that are underperforming. I think it's time to hand the baton over and get Pacho in. So you back in Svensson?
Yeah, I am.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Shall we spin the wheel on the right again?
Yeah, I like this better. Way better.
Ooh, that's just skipped some amazing names. Arnaud Martinez. I think that's one that you've just thrown on at the bottom, isn't it?
I literally would have loved to talk about the four before him.
Literally, I know. So Arnaud Martinez, defender for Girona, 22 years old. I'm in agreement. It literally, we've just skipped past Yan Diomande, Musiala, Lennart Karl, Amiri,
even
and fallen on.
Even before that. Yeah. Yeah.
Rully. Go on, you can lead the conversation on this. My brain's a little bit out on this one.
He's a Ligue 1 goalkeeper. Get him out.
Oh, just get rid of Rully regardless. I mean, I think so. I seem to remember when I was putting this together. I want to do justice to Arnaud Martinez. So he's a young guy at Girona, playing right back, 22 years old. I mean, there's not a lot on him. Here we go. So if I pull up his FOP mob, just purely on, so he's got a lot of kind of percentage on defensive contributions, good aerial one. He's averaging a 7.03 match rating over 27 games, which is brilliant. 27 matches started, 25, got a goal and assist. Pretty solid, consistent player. Again, not somebody that I know. I'm not going to try and sit here and say I follow Girona and La Liga to the depths of understanding their 20-year-old right backs. I think I'm just going to back it though and say get Martinez over Rully so we can skip on and hopefully get a bigger name.
There we go. Perfect.
Back to the wheel on the right first. Who's the names that we could add? Oh, please don't. Go on, one more. Push up. Ederson. We were so close to greatness. Ederson, and on the left we've got Gabriel. So we've got Ederson, the midfielder for Atalanta, versus Gabriel, the defender for Arsenal. My brain has instantly got an answer, but I'll let you walk it through.
Yours goes instantly where?
Gabriel.
Oh, yeah. Ederson had no chance.
No, I mean, there's a lot of players that Ederson probably pips, but Gabriel just isn't one of them. I'm pretty sure Gabriel's the most expensive defender in the game. He's probably the most consistent top five placement for defender. There's I want to say very few. I don't actually know if there's anybody that would knock Gabriel out the game.
Yeah, agreed.
Come on then, keep spinning. Where are we going? Oh, here we go.
Here we
Now
go.
we're talking.
Okay.
Now we're talking. Jamal Musiala needs no explanation. And who's he going to be kicking out of the game? It's going to be Mbappe, I'm telling you. No.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So
Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, we're obviously going to
versus-
keep them all, but let's talk about Musiala for a second. Do you think he's like literally the next player added?
No.
Okay.
I think potentially Estêvão. That's where my mind goes. I think I want to bring up another name as well. So you've got Musiala and you've got Lennart Karl. Absolutely phenomenal talents, especially Karl. And hopefully, I mean, the curse is literally over him as we speaking of him. Musiala coming into the game and trying to break back into this kind of Bayern Munich side, I think is a very hard sell when you compare him against, if you're buying shares, you've got your Michael Elise, your Harry Kane. Even I think Diaz is at the moment better than Musiala. Whereas when you look at like an Estêvão, or however you pronounce his Brazilian name, he's kind of one of the leading players at Chelsea going forwards. Chelsea is kind of Cole Palmer struggling to stay fit. They kind of, there's not really a striker at Chelsea where you're like screaming, yes, what a player. And I think Estêvão, being a kind of centre forward / winger, is probably a better fit for me for point scoring. You talk about the win bonuses, you talk about all this. Estêvão has got that chance to then go and play in Europa and maybe Champions League. So I think Musiala's up there, but I don't know. I think I'd say top 5. I wouldn't say next. Do you have him down as kind of next man that needs to join?
I think if he wasn't hurt when the same thing as who we were talking about before,
100%.
Davies. Yeah, like I think he's on the platform if he wasn't hurt at the time.
Agreed.
I think Estêvão as being like one of the next ones is like absurd. Like I think he's going to be very good one day.
Mm-hmm.
He's unplayable in SDF right now.
In what sense?
Like he just doesn't score well enough. Like he has like two Premier League goals. Sorry. Yeah, he has 2 Premier League goals and 2 Premier League assists this season. And like what are we talking about here?
So I was going to say, I mean, throw it back to my mind when I'm comparing, I mean, I look at the list and obviously potentially going to come onto it like Yan Diomande and players like that, like phenomenal talents. When I look at who's next onto the list, I want to start getting shares of the players that are going to be. And I just think that Musiala is going to be a struggle. After an injury like that, to come back and be the player that you once were is always going to be difficult. Yes, he's kind of playing well, and I absolutely agree with you that had he have been in, not injured, he would be in the game right now, and he probably, had that injury not have happened, he might be somebody that's actually top of the list in terms of valuation and price. But yeah, would you put Musiala down as a midfielder?
Yeah.
So I can run with that a bit more. I'm if I have a little look at our kind of I think Lennart Karl over Musiala before we get to anybody else.
Like, I put both of them before Estêvão.
I'd put Lennart Karl. There's just so many players. I don't like Nico Paz as I look through the list.
Yeah.
Phenomenal player, potentially going back to Real Madrid. Like, I don't think there's a clear he is next. I think there could be arguments for anybody.
Yeah. I'm willing to. So I'm willing to agree with you on that.
You just don't want Estêvão next.
Well, like the number of guys I would put next before Estêvão is not short. Like, I think there's a decent chance that if we get scouting soon and Estêvão gets added, people own him because of like what he could be one day, and eventually trade out of him because he's just not playing enough.
Okay. See, this is my hatred for Chelsea and why I've sold out of everybody, like players like Cucurella. I think the management has killed Chelsea at the moment.
And there's no reason to think that changes, though.
No, that's very true.
Like, Estêvão goes to Lyon like Endrick did and smashes Lyon. Like, now we're talking. But like, I think
at Chelsea in the Premier League today, you don't think? Maybe I've got a bit of recency bias then with Estêvão, where I'm looking at him 3-4 months ago where he was just lighting up the league. And every game he played, you watched him get so many dribbles. And that's where my mind goes with SDF, where I don't really look at people getting on the score sheet. I look at players that are getting dribbles, getting passes, getting winning fouls. And I think Estêvão ticks all those boxes. But back to the point, Lamine Yamal over Musiala. I think Musiala is definitely next 5 players that gets added in. I don't know if he's the next name on the list for me. I mean, as I go through, I probably disagree with myself that Estêvão's next on the list as I keep going through and just looking and going, oh my God, what a player, what a player, what a player. But yeah, I was wishing we had a Musiala versus Voltemade and we could have had an easier conversation.
An easier. So here's a question, because I think, so you look at Estêvão like drawing fouls and drilling past players. When you say stuff like that, like I immediately think of guys like Doku, who just like, they get out in space and there's just, you can't stop them. How many fouls? So Estêvão's played 20 games in the Prem.
Mm-hmm.
I think he started 10 of them if I looked, which in itself is already really bad, because if like you come off the bench, there's no way you're top 5ing.
Yeah,
how many fouls do you think he's drawn in 20 games?
Estêvão?
Yeah.
I'd say around 2 to 3 a game.
So like 60?
So like 50, 60. But then that would be 20 games of 90 minutes each. So if you're telling me he plays 50, 60 minutes a game on average, I'd say probably he draws on average per 90 minutes about 2 to 3 fouls.
So he's drawn 7
in 20 apps. See, that's crazy.
So he drew 3 against Leeds, 2 against Bournemouth, and then he had 3 games where he drew 1.
Wow. How many minutes is he playing?
So ironically, when he drew 3 fouls against Leeds, he only played 45 minutes.
Yeah, Leeds are just, yeah.
But like I think he's like very exciting, and the stats just like don't the fantasy stats don't back it up. He's going to be one of those players that is just better in real life than he is.
He's a fun one to watch than he is fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear that. I mean, yeah, I'm looking at certain
it's
kind
a
of Premier League games.
It's a purely Prem bias that you're like, oh, we have an 18-year-old Brazilian. He has to be good because he's in the Prem. And it's like, yeah, he's probably a phenomenal player. But we're not playing real life football here. We're playing fantasy football.
So would you rather a player in a worse league that will dominate than a player in a competitive league that's going to struggle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe you're talking me round on the Musiala when the scouting platform comes.
Well, I it's not even just a conversation. Like, I think Karl is light years ahead of Estêvão in terms of being helpful on the
100%.
platform.
Yeah, Lennart Karl is going to be phenomenal. I just, my only struggle is how many Bayern players do we get on the game at once? Because in theory, you could go through and add Pavlovic and all these other players, and it becomes to a point where you go, oh, we might need some different teams here.
I mean, we have like 6 Dortmund players that we don't even want. So like, I actually don't think, like, if you're going to have a team that has a lot of players, it's going to be Bayern, PSG, Madrid, Barca, and then, Man City and
basically the Champions League teams. Is where the list is going to be.
Like,
I agree.
We're supposed to be playing a game with the best players in the world, and these are the best clubs in the world because of the players.
No, true. We'll get back to spinning. Wheel on the left, the existing players. Hopefully, not a goalkeeper.
I don't mind a goalkeeper on this side because then we can just toss them.
Back to Borussia Dortmund, Nico Schlotterbeck, probably the only good player for Dortmund as it stands. Pairing him up against.
Oh, that's easy. All right.
We've spoken about Prem bias. We've now got Weston McKennie versus Schlotterbeck. I'm interested to hear your thoughts and see if there is any bias at all.
I mean, I adore Weston McKennie, but I'll never take him in a game over Nico Schlotterbeck. Like, that's not fair because, like, Schlotterbeck, I think, is one of my biggest holdings on the platform right now. He might be my biggest defender holding. So I think he's great. So I'm not sure there's anyone on the to be added list that I would take over Nico Schlotterbeck.
So we just spoke about kind of Musiala, Lennart Karl, Estêvão, a few other names kind of within that top 5, top 10 of being added into the game. Where would you put Weston McKennie for you? You talking next 50, next 100, or is it kind of you don't ever think he'd be added on?
I think like the upcoming World Cup is the only reason he should be added.
And then beyond that.
And that's it. Like, I don't, if there was no World Cup in the United States about to happen, we're not talking about Weston McKennie.
I was hoping you were going to be a bit more like, get him in.
I would
he's
love
great.
to be that way. But I'm just like, he's a great player. Like, you can consider me biased, but like, he's a starting midfielder for Juventus, which is like a major club in the world. So it's not like he's not there because he's American. Like, they don't care. But he certainly doesn't belong in the game over Nico Schlotterbeck. I mean, would I take him over Nemeka? Sure. But like,
not Schlotterbeck, yeah. No, I agree. Schlotterbeck, I think, head and shoulders, no conversation needed. We'll do a double spin, see what happens here. I don't know if this will break it. Wheel on the left lands first, and we've got Ezri Konsa versus Yan Diamonde. Oof. Now we're talking.
That's a good one.
Ezri Konsa, Villa defender, Yan Diamonde, Leipzig striker. I think, Yan Diamonde is somebody who is like, as soon as scouting platform comes in, I will be, lumping on. I think if you compare even Diamonde against like an Estêvão, he's clear. 19 years old, market value estimated, 80 million euros. And it's just like, even when he doesn't score, he's just electric. Somebody for me, I don't watch him week in, week out. But I've got all the alerts on Yan Diamonde. I see when he starts, when he's benched, when he's subbed, when he's scoring. I think for me, it's Yan Diamonde over Ezri Konsa. Konsa's great. they have the run in. Is it the conference Villa's in? I think
Something like that. I can never keep track of those two.
So there's too many bloody he's a solid player. Villa recent seasons phenomenal. But yeah, if we're talking about the elites, I know it's a not a positional match. But yeah, I see Yan Diomande is up there with probably the top 25% of strikers that are already on the game within FDF. I'd put him up there.
So I think if they were both not on the platform, Diomande gets all the attention. Konsa's he's just one of those players you have to have on the platform. He's a starter for a team that plays midweeks, and Villa, had
he'll
a
be
run
in there potentially for England, and
the shitty answer is you have to have both. But I'm buying Diomande before I buy Konsa. 100%. But I also just disrespect defenders all the time.
I think there's a few guys, and I suppose whenever we look at young players, you always look at the midfielders, the forwards, the players that are making the electric runs. A guy that's not in this list, Rio and Gamoa. Obviously we've got the likes of Max Dowman, both, still probably too early for those guys. There's the American lad, Cavan Sullivan, I think his name is, or Calvin Sullivan. I always get it wrong.
Yeah.
Cavan, yeah. So they're almost the next batch that will be in the conversation in 2-3 years. But at the moment, it's the kind of Diamandes, the Lennart Karls, people like that, potentially Estêvão, who are the kind of 18 to 20 years old. You don't get young electric centre backs. You don't get a defender and you go, oh my God, he's great to watch. It just doesn't happen. Maybe the likes of Lenny Yoro is the only one there, but we've even seen that you can't trust a young player in defence. Real Madrid's backline is kind of full of that. But even then, we saw 2 days ago, potentially on this recording, Bayern Munich scored because Carreras, the young left back, was from the kickoff. Did you see his positioning? He was 40 yards too high, too central. So when we're talking about solid leagues, you kind of look for the experience. And I think Ezri Konsa is a guy who is solid. But yeah, if I had the option to boot Konsa from the game and get Yan Diomande, I wouldn't even have to think twice about that one.
Yeah.
Are you backing Konsa then, are you? What's the final answer?
No, I'll take Diomande. He's way more fun.
We'll do another little double spinner, see what happens here. Ooh, is that red or yellow? Virgil van Dijk, part of the existing FDF players, and Alexis McAllister. I have my answer. I'm a Liverpool fan. It's probably deep-rooted with bias and hatreds and all this, but so I'll let you lead the floor on this one.
But then there's no way you remove Van Dijk, but McAllister was actually one when I was working on my list. I was he plays for a very good team in the World Cup. So he has those random games where all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, he is an excellent footballer. And but he has no chance against Van Dijk.
I think there's I just don't even know if there's a world where I'd want McAllister in the game.
At all?
No.
Wow.
I think Van Dijk potentially is in his final season for Liverpool. If he stays around next season, I'd assume it's in more of a mental role, passing on knowledge, trying to, we go and bring in. We've obviously got Leone and we've got the young French lad who I forget his name of, who should be coming up the ranks. And he maybe stays to kind of mentor and coach these guys. I think his playing time might get cut. As a Liverpool fan, I hope it does. It's that classic leave the game before the game leaves you. He's been a phenomenal servant for the club. I think potentially the greatest centre-back that I've ever seen, that I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. there's certainly conversations to be had around there and differences of opinions. But for me, he's up there, if not first. Alexis McAllister is he's a dogged player, loves a tackle, loves a foul, loves a bit of energy. I'm just done with him a little bit as a Liverpool fan.
Where do you put him with Gravenberch?
They're different roles, they're different players.
I just mean like if it was Gravenberch instead of Van Dijk.
Oh, then Gravenberch.
Oh, okay.
100%, yeah. I was going to say that they're different roles. Obviously McAllister's almost like an 8 and Gravenberch's a bit of a 6, or 4, depends on what era you place the defensive midfielder role. But yeah, so yeah, McAllister is again great player. Just he pisses me off too much.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone on the non SDF list that would boot off Van Dijk, even at this point.
I think next season there's a couple of players on this list that I could make a claim for, but as of this season, I don't think so. We'll go for another double spin. These seem to be much better. I say much better. So we've got Pedro Neto, Chelsea winger. Does Neto even play? And against that, we've then got Pablo Fornals. I forget what team Fornals is at now. Is it Betis? I'm just trying to. Yeah, it is Betis. That's a weird one. We've obviously spoken a moment ago about Chelsea and about Estêvão. There's just so much going on that's wrong, I think, with the club at the moment. And I'd be up for getting Fornals in and just purely as a refresh.
I think Neto's still starting pretty regularly. So Fornals is a funny one because so not like everyday football fans probably don't know where he is right now or if they've even heard of him. And it's almost like if they have heard of him, it's only because of when he was at West Ham. Like, but he is really good on a fantasy platform like SDF. Like he does a lot of things that get points. And so Fornals is like it's a perfect example. If you want to know if somebody is good at a fantasy game, ask them about like someone like Fornals is such a great example. And people who are pro Fornals, they're like sharp enough for a game. Not that Pedro Neto is a bad play. Like he can score really well too. Like he has a couple top 5s this season. Like they're both good examples of overlooked players that end up actually being pretty good in a game. It's like the opposite of, not to like keep crapping on the kid, but they're the opposite of Estêvão. Like they're boring, but they actually do all of the things that in a deeper game get points for, whereas Estêvão does the flashy stuff that doesn't.
Yeah. See, and I think that's there where your kind of so rare brain kicks in when you're looking at players like Fornals, Neto against Estêvão.
Could be.
I come back from like a football fan. I love watching the electric play. I hate watching a low block and people getting tackles and passes and whereas you're probably like, oh yes, great, he's got another tackle, he's got another 5-yard pass. I'm like, sub that 5-yard pass, go and dribble past 3 players and have a shot that goes over the bar because that's fun. And Neto, you can obviously hear my accent. I'm from Wolverhampton. So Neto, when he was at Wolves, I've got a lot of mates that absolutely loved him when, Wolves were going through that kind of Portuguese phase and they had the, João Moutinho, Ruben Neves, Pedro Neto. Like, he's a great player. I'm trying to put my fantasy hat on and get the deeper understanding. I think when Fornals was at West Ham, it was a bit of like a... Do you remember when Dimitri Payet was at West Ham? Or like a, he looks a bit too good for the team.
Payet was the best player in the world when he was at West Ham.
Like, Fornals was too flashy, I think, when I was watching West Ham, because West Ham at the time were like, no, Kufal Souček, you Mark Noble, we're just going to low block and shit out a point. And Fornals was like, but I want to do, my little flare passes and all this. I've not followed him at Betis, hence why I was asking if he's still there or whether he'd moved on. But yeah, I think I'll use your so rare brain, and I'll back you in Fornals over Pedro Neto.
I mean, like Neto's like the kind of player that should be flashy but isn't at Chelsea. And it does feel like Chelsea want to be flashy but just don't. Like, they have players that want to be flashy, but they don't let them play that way. And so, like, they're just neutering themselves. Neto's I don't know. I think it's kind of a coin flip. Like, I'm not passionate one way or the other. The only reason why I would tend to favor Fornals is, at least with Betis, he scores a little more. Like, he gets on the score sheet a little more, and we know how hard it is for like a lot of the midfielders in the game to get on the score sheet, which is why Olise just like dominates, because he actually scores goals from there. Whereas Neto like needs to do a lot in order to pass the Haaland hat trick and the Kane hat trick and stuff like that, which he's done a couple times. Like, he has a couple. It's probably been a while, but he has some top finishes this season.
Yeah, I was going to say those Neto top finishes are out my brain. And again, I mean, Neto's a fantastic player, left foot, right foot. He's got the ability. He's never been somebody that's had like the breakneck speed and pace, but he's got the dribbling ability, can whip a ball in. I think Neto in any other team would be like a fantastic player, but when Chelsea play the way they do with kind of João Pedro isn't exactly like a target man that would suit a player like Neto, putting balls in, crosses in the box. They almost look for the cutbacks into, your centre forwards. So just on that fact, again, I don't like the way that Chelsea have gone with the new manager, and they just seem a bit weird as a side. So I'll back Fornals.
So I'll give you a little Fornals trivia here. So
go on, then.
There are, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 players in the top 5 leagues in Europe who have created more chances than Fornals this season. 5. That's it. Bruno, David Raum, Federico DiMarco, whatever Romano Schmid is from is that Bremen? Wolfsburg? I don't even know. And Olise. Like, that's it. Like, Fornals has created, now Olise has played fewer games, so I'll give him that at least. But like, that's it. And chances created are passes that lead to shots, which eventually lead to assists. And so it's like, that's an impressive list.
He's a key man. Yeah. That's to be amongst those names is, you can't knock it. I'll go back to the single spin. We'll spin the wheel on the left first. See who we get. Rolls around, and we've got the star man of recent weeks, Federico Valverde, needs no explanation, just on fire for Real Madrid. And it's up against the repeat of earlier, Estêvão. Valverde. There's just, I can't find any reason why I'd pick anybody over Valverde. I think Valverde's a phenomenal player. He can cover a lot of positions for Real Madrid. He's a big player. He's going to be fantastic for Uruguay, if not the most important player for Uruguay this World Cup. I have to take back what I said earlier. I think Estêvão should be in the platform. I don't think he should be kicking off a player like Valverde. Yeah,
that was really unlucky for Estêvão there.
Yeah, I was going to say the conversation's kind of cut short, but similar to how we had Musiala and Lamine Yamal, I think Estêvão's the player that will add something to the game. You know, he'll be somebody that can, similar to like an Amad Diallo. You know, Amad Diallo for Man United was very, very cheap. He's kind of in a weird position where he's not playing 90 minutes, but Diallo's had those games where he's got the 90 minutes, he's got the dribbles, the fouls, he might have got a goal and an assist, and he's come top 5. So I'm backing the fact that I'd like Estêvão on, but Valverde stays on the platform for me. I
fact,
assume you're in
I
agreement.
got in on the Valverde, like when they released all the players. I got him like super cheap and ended up selling him just before like his huge run up. Like he was like a little slow to start. And so I sold him, and literally right after I sold him, he starts getting in the Ballon d'Or conversations. And I was like, oh, that's fun.
Oops. Mistakes were made.
Exactly.
Back to a double spin. And we've got, Jesus Christ. Back to the goalkeepers, Joan Garcia. And up against that, I'm not even sure how to pronounce Marco Carnesecchi. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's the Atalanta goalkeeper. I should have kept that on the screen. Sorry. So goalkeeper for goalkeeper.
No.
I think I'd like to see him on the game. You know, so when I started looking at my kind of list a few weeks ago, and I was almost hunting down what goalkeepers I think should be on the list. There was Lamens, Sommer, and the Atalanta keeper were kind of the three that I, across all leagues, that I were like, yeah, they've got a real kind of argument as to why they should be in the game. I don't think there's an argument as to why you should remove Joan Garcia, though.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
We'll just keep it moving, because we're not here for the goalkeepers. We're here for the fun. He says, Jude Bellingham and Lamens. So I've just raised that I think Lamens should be in the game. Does anybody take Jude Bellingham out the game?
Would you remove Lamens for Job?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. We just got the wrong Bellingham. That's all.
The wrong Bellingham. I'll edit it into an O.
Yeah. It's the one time we got the wrong Bellingham.
Yeah, I mean, so I just said before, Carnesecchi, Sommer, Lamens are the three keepers that I think should kind of join the game. Do you agree on those names? Is there anybody that you think I'm missing off that should be in the conversation?
That's sort of where I was thinking, if there were any others that, like Jean Boutez at Como. Like so respectfully, I consider all goalkeepers the same. Like what the team that they play for is more important than who they are. Yeah. And so like, whether you think Donnarumma is a great goalkeeper or not, like he plays for Man City, so you have to have him. And like Manuel Neuer is on the game because he was the Bayern Munich starter and he's hurt all the time, and that doesn't help. But like, you need guys like that. And again, they could be great. Usually good teams have good goalkeepers, but so that's the only thing I look at. So like Como are like an incredible story in Serie A and are potentially making the Champions League next year. And we don't have anybody from Como, I don't think.
No, I don't think we do.
Yeah. So like the goalkeeper is fine. I think I'm trying to pull it up here. I think they have the best defensive record in Serie A. Yeah, they do. And so like they've conceded fewer than Milan, and we have Mike Mignon there. Boutez doesn't have anything internationally, but so it's guys like that. We don't have Sommer, which I think is strange. The Napoli situation was weird because they were switching between Vanja, Milinkovic-Savic, and Merritt. Excuse me. We have Di Gregorio from Juve. I don't even know who starts in Roma now. Is it David De Gea is at Fiorentina?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Whoever, but like if you're gonna have the top team, like the top leagues,
Yeah.
probably want the goalkeepers from the top teams.
Mm.
So I guess Lammon's technically fits that, but from before, but
Yeah.
like you could make up a name and put them on the platform, and you're like, yeah, they're the starter for Roma, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, well, whatever. Like those guys don't matter to me.
Yeah, it's such a difficult challenge when you talk about goalkeepers, and it goes back to what I was trying to highlight earlier on the first pick that we had with Robin Risser. With a striker, you have the striker from the best teams because they're the ones that score the goals. With a goalkeeper, when you have a goalkeeper from the best team, they're doing nothing. They like David Raya is so good because he has not much to do. But then when David Raya does go and save those 2-3 shots that they have, not to say that they're easy saves, but Arsenal don't really give away that many big chances for him to be required to like make these phenomenal saves. So you kind of like any game, and I think Robert Sanchez at one point for Chelsea was like on this phenomenal run where he was making like 6 saves a game. Like Chelsea's defence were just in tatters, and he was just having to make save after save after save after save. And I think at one point he got like a stupid high amount of points because he made a penalty save on top of all that stuff. I mean, it's one of the reasons I would be open to kind of some of the lower down goalkeepers. People can probably see at the moment Robin Rose, Sunderland goalkeeper. We've got Dordy Petrovic, Bournemouth goalkeeper, Calvin Kelleher, Brentford goalkeeper. Those are Premier League kind of middle of the table sides where they are having to make a few more saves. Each game they've got more to do than say a Donnarumma. So the goalkeepers are a weird one when you just go down the route of only from the best teams.
Yeah. So the one that popped in my head when I was saying how these guys don't matter was actually when Vicario was benched or rested for Kinski in that Champions League game, and then Kinski conceded 3 or 4 in the first half.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, maybe these guys are a little different. But Vicario, I think, was one of those that they put in the game because they were like, oh, he makes a lot of saves, he scores really well, but they should be near the top of the league. And then all of a sudden they're like fighting relegation. And he ends up making a ton of saves. So, I don't know where I agree that the unfortunate thing about the way that fantasy works with goalkeepers is there are only so many stats you can use, and saves is obviously the big one. And so you do have that conversation. Am I better off with a mid to lower table Prem goalkeeper or the league leading goalkeeper in Ligue 1? And based on the win bonus,
and
it's not even close. You obviously want the Prem guy.
You go for the person that stands there with the clean sheet and the win, and you go, yeah, perfect, got my points, see you later.
No, but I mean, like, you're better off taking Kelleher, Petrovic, and Rofs over, was Chevalier or Rui, because like they don't score well enough, even when they get a clean sheet win. A 5 save.
But then this is where I'm saying that I think with SDF's point scoring, we've seen it before, the clean sheets and the win bonus. If you get a win as a Premier League goalkeeper, it's so big. Compare that to somebody who, I don't know, we'll go back to Robin Risser for Lens. Lens play a team low down in Liga. The win bonus is really low. He gets a clean sheet, but it's a 0-0. So they get the draw bonus on a low points. He's made a few saves. Does he do better than a Arsenal goalkeeper who's in a game that gets a clean sheet, 1 save, but they've got the win bonus against a harder team? Like, I don't, I've not ran the maths to see what's kind of happening, but it's certainly going to be a conversation to down the line. I think we start having a look at who are the up and coming goalkeepers that are making the saves and doing more.
Yeah. God, we've talked about goalies so much today.
Literally, this has just been goalkeeper chat. What I'm going to do is try and figure out how to remove wheel 1. Yes, I want to delete wheel 1. And we're just going to speed run through. Oh my God, how do I close the ad? Here we go, bash. Speed run through wheel 2 and just talk about should they be in the game or not. And that is my stomach starving. Oh, bloody hell. Petrovic, yes or no? Quick answer.
No, really?
Robin Roths even.
No.
Should Roths be in the game?
No.
Okay. Just anybody but a goalkeeper. We just want to end it on some big names. Come on. I'm not even stopping for this. Okay. Oh, no. Yeah, I'll stop for this one. I thought it was going to be under the goalkeeper. Dominic Szoboszlai. We've covered Alexis McAllister. What do you think of Szoboszlai?
I think I'm trying to think of everyone we've gone through, but I think realistically, he should be the next player added to the platform.
As a midfielder?
Yeah.
Or just in general? Yeah.
Like, is he the best player not on the
on
platform right now? Like currently playing,
in form,
not this,
like current form. Yeah, current form. I'm just trying to think. I mean, I think he should be in the game. It's been a struggle having him at right back due to kind of injuries, but at the same time, he's absolutely dominated that position. His set pieces are just fantastic. I'm sure he gets many passes. He gets many shots on targets each game. I reckon he would be quite a big point scorer. Yeah, I think get Dom Szoboszlai in. We'll spin again, keep it moving, try and empty the list. Oh, fuck me. Right, I'm skipping this one. Calvin Kelleher. We're not even doing that. Can I just delete all the goalkeepers off the list? Why is it so many goalkeepers? It's stuck in this corner. Granit Xhaka. Thoughts on Granit Xhaka? Interesting. When I started So Rare this season for the first and last time, Granit Xhaka was one of the first players I bought. Dirt cheap. Thought he was going to be big. Him and Enzo Lefebvre, Sunderland's kind of midfield partnership at the start of the season. I think Granit Xhaka, I haven't followed him close enough throughout the season to know. I think he's a great player, fun to watch, going to be good for his international team. Don't think he's somebody that we have on the platform.
Yeah, I think he's going to be one of those guys that during the World Cup, you'd be like, oh yeah, he's good. But I don't think you're like running out to buy him at all.
No. We'll do 3 more, see who we pick up. I think this is one of the guys that you added on, is it not? Erai Comer, one of your fantastic players. I think that is it Liga that you like him in.
I have no idea who are you talking about?
I was saying that Erai Comer. No, completely wrong. Defender for Valencia.
Yeah,
no idea. I added him in as a name filler, hoping we didn't land on him. No fucking clue. Here we are.
I have no idea who he is.
Maybe he's a fantastic player, but he's not in the game. Probably for a reason. Keep skimming past. I thought that was one of your guys.
Let me click.
This is the one that I wanted to talk about before. So you made a statement earlier saying there is no defender that should kick Virgil van Dijk out of the platform. And I said, there's a couple that maybe do like next season. Jan van Heck, Brighton defender, same nationality. What do you think? Should we get him in the game or not?
I think he's in that Ezri Konsa land of like, yeah, if it makes sense that they're on the platform, but when it comes to scouting, I'm probably not going out of my way to make sure I get early shares of Jan van Hecke. Like, yeah, good player, good on a lot of fantasy platforms. He's just a little too boring for me.
I think my only thought with it is, again, when I look down the line at the future and kind of coming seasons, he's kind of entering into his prime. He's well established as a defender. He's very quick. again, not with the stats in front of me, I'm assuming he makes kind of a fair few recovery runs and recovery tackles. Great passer of the ball. I'd think there's many players in the platform right now that he would come in over. So yeah, for me, I'd like to have him in the game. We'll do 2 more spins. And there we go. This is all we had to do, spin it 20 times. Lennart Karl, take the floor.
Sorry, every time you spin it, it like applauds, and I can't hear you when it's applauding. So
I'll
what
have
did
to
you say
mute
there?
that. No, I just said, yeah, this is why we've kept spinning the wheel. If you want to lead us away with Lennart Karl.
It's funny. I was going to say, should we just stop spinning and just pick guys out? And like Karl was going to be the one that that we ultimately talk about. So Karl is going to be the reason that it takes Musiala time to get onto the platform.
Mm-hmm.
But what is he? Is he even 19 yet?
I think he's 18 off the top of my head.
Yeah, like he's going to be if he's not already like considered a star. Certainly in Germany he is, but he's going to be like he's going to possibly go to the World Cup, which for a really veteran team like the Germany team is not young.
No.
But he is very young, and I don't know if he'll play a big role. Who knows? But like he'll be there and already plays for the top team in Germany. And yeah, he's like a special talent. And so I imagine like I think Soboslai is the best player not on the platform, but I think Karl is possibly the first player scouted onto the platform.
I mean, yeah, Karl's made some he's had massive games, scored some big goals for Bayern this season. I think he's one that they need to nurture into the side. Again, I raised it before. When you're looking at kind of, your Elises, your Diaz, your Kane, they're attacking lineup, even your Pavlovic and Kimmich and stuff like that throughout the midfield. What's his name? Stanisic. All these bloody foreign names. They're such a solid side at Bayern Munich, and I think he's somebody that they're not really going to be rushing to get into playing, every single game week in, week out. Karl definitely gets the minutes. I think if he was in this season, he would certainly have quite a few top fives. And yeah, I probably do agree that he's up there for some of the next names in the game.
Like if we were doing the side to side again and it was Lennart Karl versus Gnabry, like we switched that
100%.
immediately.
Yeah, 1,000%. Do you want to pick a final name out the list? I'll run through some names that we've got. Dennis Undav, Bahaya Amiri. I can never pronounce Orazi Bal's name. Endrick, Tyler Morton. Definitely not from a Liverpool bias. James Garner, Nico Paz. Yeah, Stanisic. There's some big names still left in that wheel.
Yeah, so some of them are a little tricky. Like Endrick is on loan, and if he goes back to Madrid, then you're kind of like dead there. And let's see. I think David Raum is really good, like really good. He's in that like high scoring defender category that I think would help. Undav is like the best striker in Germany that's not on Bayern, and so
it's not Harry Kane.
Yeah. Like I'm guessing he ends up starting for the up front for the national team, and so
I'd assume as such.
Feels like he should be be in the game. Let's see who else is there. Trying to read upside down now. And honestly, the Italy not being in the World Cup probably stops him from being a little more well known. But DeMarco is incredible, and he's like a super fantasy player. So he would be really, really interesting in the game. So it's funny because I'm like picking out defenders now after I kind of slighted them a little bit. But like DeMarco, David Raum, Undav. Those are probably the 3 that are still on the list that I would say like definitely should be in the game. And I'll add Sommer just because we've talked about goalies so much that we may as well talk about the one who's leading Serie A.
Might as well end it on a goalkeeper note. No, I think that list of names that you've just pulled through is pretty much spot on. I highlight the names of like Igor Jesus. They're the players that you kind of worry about in terms of can they replicate it next season. You made a good point where people like Musiala should, had they have not been injured, they probably would be in the game. I think there's a few players in the game that had a good period in the beta that shouldn't be in the game anymore because they're just not replicating the form. They've either been, benched or dropped. People even like Mateus Sula. So yeah, there's a lot of rotation that could happen with the kind of implementation of scouting platform. But I think this is a brilliant way to pretty much highlight there's not a great deal of talent that's like dying to be in the game. With pretty much, when you're talking about an elite platform, it's pretty much captured those elite guys. We're now just looking at the mid range and kind of the up and comers. Who do you kind of get in there and who do you shuffle in? So I think we can pretty much end it on agreement that Lennart Karl is the biggest name about when you talk about youngsters, especially when we look at the players that are not on the platform. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming months as we kind of learn a bit more and hopefully see what the scouting platform has. So we'll stop sharing. We'll wrap it up there. It's been a solid episode, kind of well over an hour. It's been fun, actually. I know it's kind of been last minute thrown together from us. I woke up to a message off you at 4 a.m. Saying, should we go and do this? So I think it's kind of come together quite nicely. And yeah, we'll leave it there for episode whatever we're on of the Third Half podcast. Thank you all for listening. Please, as always, drop a like, drop a subscription, and we'll be back next week for another episode.